Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this installment of the Renegade of Wrestling. I am your host, the Renegade of Wrestling, J.J. Williams, here to bring you my thoughts and happenings in the world of independent pro wrestling. That's right, I am the guy on the channel that takes a step back from all the mainstream bull crap that they throw at us every Monday, Thursday, and Friday, and occasional Sunday on television to give you the ins and outs and the best of the other shit. The shit that you need to be paying attention to, because, I actually had somebody IM me last night ask me, why do I like independent wrestling so much? Why do I always talk about independent wrestling? Independent wrestling has much nicer guys than the pro circuit. The women are better wrestlers than on the pro circuit. And the matches overall are 100 times better usually than anything you see on any Monday, Thursday, or Friday. Occasionally on Sundays they pull out all the stops, but for the most part, what you see on the indie circuit is 100 times better match quality wise. That is why I like the indies so much. Plus, the indies is where the guys come from for the big feds. Your Bryan Danielsons that made a name in PWG and ROH before he became Daniel Bryan in WWE. Your CM Punks, who made a name in IWA Mid-South, Ring of Honor, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, just to name a couple feds before he blew up on WWE TV. Evan Bourne, Dragon Gate USA, Ring of Honor, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla when he was Matt Sydal. The list goes on and on. Guys that started out on the indie circuit, banged around and bumped for 20 or 30 people in a gymnasium or a bingo hall before they finally got to one of the big three at the time, WWF, WCW, or ECW. Now WWE or TNA. So the reason I focus on these guys is so y'all know what to expect from them when they finally get called, because some of these guys will get called. They will. When we were at the Arrowhead Pond a couple weeks ago for that Raw, saw a bunch of our buddies show up there for background work, dark matches, whatever. So these guys are getting looked at. You will be hearing from them soon. Anyways, on to the topic at hand. Battleground Pro Wrestling has presented two shows this month that we were at. I'm going to go over the one that happened a couple weeks ago first, open season. Really good show up in Southgate. I'm not going to go over every single match because, as I've already said, you're not going to know these guys, but I'm going to tell you the ones that you need to pay attention to. The first match that really caught my eye was a triple threat match. I guess you could say it was to determine the number one contender for their Ring Warrior title, since the winner ended up getting a shot this past weekend. Jeremy Yeager versus Chris Cadillac versus Seville Alvarez, with Jeremy Yeager getting the victory. Very, very fun, very, very energetic match. Could compare it to the old school WCW Cruiserweight division or to TNA's X division. That's the style and type of wrestling that these guys put on, and the type of energy they have in their matches. I see big things for Chris Cadillac in the future, although it was Yeager that got the victory. Nothing against Yeager, but out of the three, I see Cadillac going on to bigger and better things in one of the major companies. The Black Knights, Casa D18 Studios homies, took on the Revolution. And the Revolution, hard-fought match against the Knights. The Knights, it went to a no contest when one of the other performers on the card did a run and interfered, but I gotta give a shout out to Jason Andrews of the Revolution. Dude broke his arm in the match, and he was still there this past Saturday to support his tag team partner in the Battleground Blitz. That's heart, that's dedication, that's guts. He finished the match with a broken arm. Big shout out to the Revolution. and the Knights for putting on a really good, strong-style, hard-fought match. Comic relief of the night had to go to the fanny pack match. Two men who have made it their shtick as of late to rely on their fanny packs, Sasha Derevko and Ray Rosas, had pretty much a winner-take-all fanny pack match, and it was just some of the funniest shit. It was a great match, but it was for sheer comedy purposes. That match was fucking awesome, and Ray Rosas ended up getting the victory for that. Ray Rosas, again, longtime friend of the channel. You can catch him every Saturday on NWA Hollywood, or the following Wednesday on NWAHollywood.com, where they upload their episodes there. Santino Brothers, LCW, etc., etc., etc. Quite possibly the first match of the year candidate, in my opinion. The West Coast Heavyweight Championship match. Joey Ryan defending against Famous B. That match was fucking sick. Definitely match of the month, and if I was, doing a running tab for match of the year, that would already be candidate number one for match of the year, in my opinion. Both these guys put on a really good, hard-fought Matt Classic. Not to be confused with the Worker. Really good Matt Classic. Joey, longtime vet. You've actually seen him on WWE TV before as a jobber. Famous B. If you've seen the UWF pay-per-view commercials, those of you that watched the Rumble the other night, showed some commercials for the Urban Wrestling Federation. Famous B works over there, so you can catch him on pay-per-views. Again, NWA Hollywood for both those gentlemen. Really, like I said, really, really good, hard-fought match. Not much more I can say about that one at this time. Next Battleground show was this past weekend. Open Season, it was called. Or no, that was the one I just did. Sorry, my phone's jumping on me. God damn it. Battleground Blitz, excuse me, was the name of the pay-per-view. Name of the show. This past weekend.
That phone call fucked you up, dude. It's all over the place.
It did. The phone call fucked me up, and I slept in way later than I should have. I was up till almost 4 o'clock last night, making sure y'all could see our Rumble thoughts, afterthoughts, and then that phone call. So, excuse me, I'm a little bit disoriented here right now. Battleground Blitz was this past Saturday in Los Alamitos, and Jeremy Yeager, who, as I mentioned, more or less became #1 contender to the Ring Warrior title, captured that championship this past weekend against B-Boy, who was the defending champion, and Chris Cadillac, who was also in the match, another triple threat. Jeff, chime in here if you want to on this one. I've been noticing that Battleground is very fond of triple threat matches.
They very much are. I have yet to see the Ring Warrior Championship since that first show where we were on opposite sides of the aisle, not defended in a triple threat match. I think Ray faced one guy that night when he was champion. I think everything else since then has been triple threat, I think.
You're right. I think that was the night Ray won the belt against Lucha Machine.
Yes.
I believe Lucha was the champion.
Lucha defended against his partner Ray, and then ever since then it's been triple threat.
Yeah.
Ever since. Because B-Boy won it from Ray in a triple threat.
Yeah. I believe Cadillac was in that match too.
Give Chris the bell, BPW bookers.
But anyways, they're fond of triple threat matches, which can either be great or clusterfucky all at the same time. It just depends what guys you've got in the ring. And luckily, Battleground knows what guys to put in the ring to keep it from getting clusterfucky, because Jeremy Yeager is a hell of a mat technician. I was not a fan of him when we first went to Battleground last August, but I have slowly come around to becoming a fan of Yeager. His work ethic and his style is it's just awesome. I really, really recommend that the next time Battleground runs a show, which I'll get to later in this program, that you guys come out and check out the show, check out Jeremy Yeager, check out Chris Cadillac and some of these other guys, because I'm sure they'll be there. But Yeager became the Ring Warrior champion. Big ups to him. Congratulations, Yeager. I know I got to tell you that after the show, but here we are in front of the 2,000 plus subscribers on our channel, giving you a little bit of publicity here. Congratulations, Jeremy Yeager, on becoming the Ring Warrior champion. We then had a triple threat tag team match, which, you know, was a last minute thing because shit happened. Card is always subject to change in the wrestling world. Suburban Commandos, Circumsexy and the Black Knights. Again, a no contest in a match that featured the Knights. However, you know, there was a DQ. It was a DQ, but with two other teams, I guess it has to go to a no contest when there's a DQ in a triple threat. You know, Something Nasty, the Commandos tag team finisher, was banned in the match. They hit it on Sean Black. Looked like he took it very, very nasty. I guess that's why it's called Something Nasty, because his back was kind of foobar post-show. Sean, I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah. He was on stage with us the rest of the night, just up against the wall like, and with Dill whooping his ass.
Again, really good, hard-fought, strong style match. If you don't know what strong style is, look up some Japan stuff. That is strong style. The shortest match of the night, not counting Dylan versus Thunder Kitty. Thunder Kitty versus Tara Calloway. Former Wild World Champion versus the current Wild North American Champion in Battleground Pro Wrestling, with no title on the line because Thunder Kitty is no longer aligned with the company.
It's not a wild sanctioned match, that's right.
But it was, for what it was, in 4.5 minutes of glory, still better than half the crap WWE puts on TV in a women's match. It was quick, but it was effective. Thunder Kitty went in, whooped ass, and left. And she may be leaving for good. Rumor is she's moving to the East Coast. I don't know if it's another wrestling school that she's going over there for, or a job opportunity, but hope to see you back here on the West Coast soon, Thunder Kitty. Your presence will be missed in the women's division until you get back here. Another fanny pack match. The reigning North American fanny pack champion, Sheik Khan Abadi, took on the defending SoCal fanny pack champion, Ray Rosas. Again, comedy match, definitely, but really, really good, high-flying plus technical action, a la early ECW, before it became all about barbed wire and thumbtacks and staple guns and all that shit. Back in the Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko, Shane Douglas, Chris Jericho days, mixed in with a little bit of the Rey Mysterio, Psychosis, Conan days. That type of ECW wrestling is kind of fast-paced technical action that we saw in this match. It's a really, really good match. And then I'm going to skip ahead to the Battleground Blitz match, which is kind of like, I'm not going to take the exact same wording that I heard Jeff say, even though his is going up after this. So it would look like I said it first. I know I just kind of totally blew the kayfabe on that, but whatever.
Kayfabe.
Whatever. You know what? Kayfabe is fucking dead in wrestling. So.
Except on SmackDown.
Yeah. When Teddy Long says it to Oksana.
That's right.
To me, the match reminded me a little bit of, obviously, the Rumble, but then the Gauntlet for the Gold from TNA. I don't know if you guys out there, you viewers out there, remember the Gauntlet for the Gold, but the Gauntlet for the Gold in TNA is essentially a 18-man battle royal, 20-man, but 18 men had to be eliminated. When it came down to the final 2, it became pinfall or submission only. Now, pinfall or submission was allowed throughout the entire match. Any way that you could get eliminated was an elimination. Pinfall, submission, count out, disqualification, over the top rope, you know, throw all those things into a match. 4 men in the ring at a time, no more than 4. Which, that's the only part I kind of didn't like. I would like to have seen the ring fill up a little bit more than 4 guys, but then again, they're not wrestling in a 20 by 20 either, so, you know, you throw guys the size of a Mikey O'Shea and, you know, Extreme Loco, even though they weren't in the match, but to start throwing 3 or 4 of those type of guys in the ring, and the ring's going to get full pretty quick. Nothing against y'all, you know we love you, but you compare your guys' probably a 16 by 16 ring to the standard 20 by 20, and get some bigger bodies in there, it's going to fill up quicker. Brandon Gatson outlasted everybody else, become the #1 contender to Rico's title, and there was actually a little bit of taunting after the match. It looked like Brandon was going to cash in his opportunity right then and there, but Rico, being the intelligent man that he was, decided to back off. Because Rico pretty much did the same thing when he won the Ramirez Cup. He cashed in his opportunity right then and there and became the champion. So that is all the news from Battleground Pro Wrestling for right now. I want to go ahead and plug the next show for them on February 25th, Los Alamitos, California, American Legion Post number 716. I believe Jeff gave the address. I don't remember it off the top of my head, so just Google search American Legion Post 716, Los Alamitos, California. Find it right there.
Well, I haven't given it yet. I'll give it on the next show.
That's true.
There you go. Give it.
The other show I want to talk about was a decent enough show, but it was very, very kind of clusterfucky because you could tell it was thrown together at the last minute. And that was the Empire Wrestling Federation show that was thrown together in the Chino/Ontario area at a church function, which we went to see the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. Ted DiBiase was there giving his testimonial about how he found God and everything, and not really the most religious guy am I, but wanted to meet the $1 Million Man, so fuck it, and it was free wrestling too. Want to give a quick thank you to Ted. Hope y'all can see that good on camera. $1 Million Man hooked us up with $1 Million bill, complete with his picture on it. Only the Casa D18 Studios family got that. The whole rest of the show did not. We were lucky because we stayed till the end, had a little personal one-on-one conversation. Unfortunately, we didn't think to roll camera. Kind of kicking ourselves in the ass on that one, but
He'll be back.
he will be back, just like the Terminator. He'll be back.
He's in California a lot more than we think he is.
So, like I said, it was a pretty clusterfucky show, but there were a couple of matches where I saw potential in some of the people, and that's what I'm going to go over right now. Eddie Manson, Maddox, and the Yellow Viper. The Yellow Viper was one of the church folk who got involved in the match to kind of help further the relation between church and wrestling. Took on the Barroom Saints and Dr. J. Again, Dr. J was a church folk who got involved in the match. Barroom Saints were an awesome tag team. I really thought that they had a good look, a good style, and I hope that the Saints end up getting picked up by some of the other companies here in SoCal. Maybe we can eventually see them on NWA Hollywood. Maybe we can bring them into Battleground to help strengthen their tag team division, even though they've already got a pretty solid division. One more team definitely wouldn't hurt them. And, you know, every SoCal team's dream, pretty much, hopefully one day they'll get to Gorilla. I think with enough hard work, enough more time as a team, you know, to polish up their chemistry and get their skills solid, I could definitely see them in Gorilla one day. The Saints obviously won the match, otherwise I probably wouldn't be talking them up as much as I am. But Barroom Saints, keep your ear out for that name, because if we ever go to another EWF show, I have a feeling we will be talking either to them or more about them in the future. And then the main event for the EWF Heavyweight Championship, Johnny Starr defended his title against Killa Gorilla. Johnny Starr won that match, and Killa Gorilla, I don't know if it was intentional. Probably not, considering he just came back, a couple weeks prior to when this took place. Killer Gorilla came out looking like Brodus Clay, minus the Adidas jumpsuit.
And the Funk Cats.
The church crowd, granted it was me and Double A that got the chant started, but the church crowd was chanting Funkasaurus at him. It's kind of all you got to say.
You had people in a church chanting Funkasaurus. Marinate that for a minute, Jay. Marinate on that for a minute, Jay.
I take pride in that. I take pride in that. The one thing I do want to give EWF, though, is a lot of people shit on wrestling federations for using replica belts for their titles. But god damn it, when it's a Classic Intercontinental title...
They have had that belt for a minute, and they redesigned that so well, make it like their own belt. It looks sweet.
I gotta give them credit for using the Classic Intercontinental. They didn't go for the Winged Eagle. They didn't go for one of those world titles that's a world titles, and we're just making it our own world title now. They went for the IC belt. They took the Workhorse title and turned that into their world title. And even though this was my first EWF show, I think that says leaps and bounds about the way they train their students over at the School of Hard Knocks and the type of talent that is coming out of there. They want their guys to be workhorses. So big shout out to Jesse Hernandez for throwing that show. It was a free show at that, which is part of why we went. Let's not fake the funk here, because money is tight. So.
But it cost us our car at the end of the day.
Yeah. That is all the wrestling news from the indie circuit that I've got today. I do have to give one more plug, because that's how we roll here at Casa D18 Studios. This Friday, February 3rd, Curtis Middle School, Carson, California. Wrestling gets massive. The debut show for the brand new SoCal company, Pro Wrestling Massive. Casa D18 Studios is going to be in the motherfucking house. Keep your eyes open for us, because you never know where we may pop up. I'm not going to tell you what we're doing there. I'm going to entice you to go. Get your asses out there. You'll be able to see a bunch of the guys we've talked about from Battleground Pro Wrestling there. Mikey O'Shea's supposed to be in the house. Tito Escondido, Rico Dynamite, Sam Knight and Sean Black. Vintage Dragon is supposed to be there. I believe he is challenging for their world title. He's going to be in the match to decide the very first ever Pro Wrestling Massive champion. I could be wrong about that. If I am wrong, I'll post a note in the comment board about that. Keep in mind, card is always subject to change. The lovely Tara Calloway will be there, managing her man to ringside. Pro Wrestling Massive, Curtis Middle School, Friday, February 3rd, 6 o'clock bell time. We will see you there.